Yeah. Parking lot comes off the street. You'll see a BMW there, silver, like a silver gray BMW. That's my BMW.
That's our rush car, that's MC's new one. And that's good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, hello everyone, welcome, and I'm Lisa Twilley, I'm the director of the Women's Business Center at Maryland Capital Enterprises. Some people will still be joining us online, but and we have people here in person, so I'm trying to look at both of you, so if I get a little like this, you'll know why. Tonight we're here just to give you a little information about Maryland Capital Enterprises and who we are. We are a nonprofit here in Salisbury. I'm sorry, somebody's talking, it's distracting me a little bit. We're a nonprofit based here in Salisbury, and we help entrepreneurs that are getting started in business, if they're already in business and trying to expand. We do business consulting, marketing consulting, training workshops such as this that we're doing in partnership with Salisbury University's Dave and Patsy Brommel Center for Entrepreneurship, and we're very thankful for them and the partnership we have and being here tonight. Thank you, Brian. But we can help you with loans, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, about funding and what's required for funding, whether it's with us or with another institution. So we're thankful that everybody's here. We do have another class coming up as well with SU and the Rommel Center, and that is crafting an effective social media strategy on April 18th. So that will also be held here in person and virtually. So hopefully you'll be able to join us again for that. But tonight we have Bernard Carter, who is our loan officer and business consultant. And he is going to talk with you more about funding and what's required, requirements are for that. So,
We'll share that.
it's good. Thank you. I was trying to start on time, but all right. And you got the clicker, so you can let's advance.
Navigate me a little bit. Hello, everybody. I'm Bernard Carter, loan officer, business consultant for Maryland Capital Enterprises. Thank you, everybody, for attending. It's a pleasure to be here, and we're here to show you the way to navigate you through the process from start to finish, start and finish for everybody who thinks they're an entrepreneur, wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to start their own business, and you know, do this on your own, because working for the man, working for the woman, working for whomever, and not working for you is a problem. I like to keep it real, but I like to keep it simple. But yet, at the same token, thank you everybody for who is here on attending. So right now, I see Adrian Phillips, I see Ted Bryant, I see Kara, I see Jane, I see Teresa Davis, and there are more to come. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here. What's your name? Ebony, it's a pleasure. Thank you all for being here on this evening. And we are going to get started, and we're starting with writing a business plan. How does everybody feel when it comes to when you came to your creative idea and you wanted to start your own business and trying to figure out what it is that you need to do to make that happen? Well, it comes down to making sure that you are fully prepared to make this happen. Yes. And one of the aspects of doing that is writing your business plan. Now, as you see on the screen, it says, who needs a business plan? Anyone who has any particular business of any sorts, one thing you should do no matter what is take your creative process of what you've got, take that vision no matter what, and put it down on paper. One of the big challenges people have, and I don't like to use negative connotations in it anyway, but I will say one of the big mistakes that people do, one of the big mistakes people make, is that they have a great idea, and then all of a sudden, they had it in their head, but they don't know how to transcribe what's in their head to put it down on paper. Or they had it in their head, and all of a sudden, they just have this drive and this initiative and this wanting to just get it started, and they start doing it, but yet, all of a sudden, it's everywhere. And then when they find out what they're doing is also everywhere. So then what you need to do is take that vision that's in your head, I don't care how it is, what it is, put down, first and foremost, what is the name of your business? Now, I'm not fully on what our slides are showing, but I want to just inform you, come up with whatever the name is and take that one blank sheet of paper and put that name on that piece of paper, where when you see that, and we are visual people, that vision of it makes it live, and it resonates within you based on the fact, hey, this is my business, and this is what I'm starting, and it makes you feel good. I know it did when I did, because I, even though I work with MCE, I'm a business consultant and loan officer, but when, and my other company is called Carter One Marketing, Carter One Production and Entertainment. When I put that name down on paper, it made me feel good. Like, hey, I had this great idea. So when you look at who needs a business plan, for all of these individuals, all of you guys that are on this call this evening and looking at this and that are here, who needs a business plan? Where it's effective and productive business owners. The key to success is planning. Business owners with a plan routinely accomplish more than those without. And as I was just saying, you have to have a plan of sorts. A lot of people say, well, no, I don't have to. I just use my talent. I just use my skill, and it will just fall into place. No, that's not always the case, because I am a spiritual person. The Word of God says, and I'm not putting my religion on anybody, but the Word of God says, without a vision, the people perish. And then it also says, write the vision and make it plain. So put what you have in your mind, the thought creative processes that are going on, write it down on paper. And with that, you got to be effective and productive in regards to that plan. The time and effort invested up front will save you time and keep you focused going forward. How many have you utilized having a story and or vision board for all the things that you want to do, all the things that you want to accomplish? One of the best ways to make that happen is you create a board, and everything that you want to do, put it on that storyboard. So then you can see it in front of you. So then it can assist you in wanting to take the time and the task to accomplish those goals. That's the same thing in reference to what you should do when it comes down to writing a business plan.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to push. I'm trying to.
Sorry about it.
I'm trying to get something.
No problem. Anyway, with that being said, and make sure you put it down on paper so it's before you, where you will then have a clearer and much more understanding of what it is what you're trying to accomplish. So even when you put the name down, then you put down what your mission and your goal is for the company, or for the business, or for whatever it is, that product or service that you created. So you can get a clearer understanding, okay, if it's something where, say, for instance, you're in the apparel business, or some people I know before they get into the apparel business fully, they create a t-shirt company. And that t-shirt company, you create various colors, you may want to have sayings on that t-shirt, whatever it may be, to attract other visual individuals. That's what you want to do. So then once you start that, your business becomes live. But make sure you have a name, put it on paper, have a name, put it before you. You have a mission, whatever that mission is, what you're trying to accomplish with your business. You have a goal, whatever that goal is, to get it executed. Then once you get it executed, how you brought it to life. And then what your end reasoning in reference to fulfilling on that business. Why did you create that product, good, or service? And what is that going to do for the community and or the world that you're going to be serving with it? So again, the time and effort invested up front will save you time and keep you focused going forward. And this is all again in regards to who needs a business plan. Then we also are looking at the next bullet where it says loan and grant applicants. When it comes down to looking at how am I going to fund my business? Where am I going to get the capital? Sometimes people have saved their own money. They put things aside financially, or they'll go to family members or whomever it may be to help get this dream to life, get this business off the ground. But through and by loan and grant applicants, there are banks out there that they want to see when it comes down to getting this business started. It's like when you go into apply for a job, what do you have to do? You got to fill out an application. So when it comes to looking at your business plan, you just don't walk into a bank and say, hey, lend me $5 million and give them an idea out of your head. No, they're going to want to see, okay, you're asking us for $5 million. First and foremost, tell us about your business. What's the purpose of your business? What product, good, or service are you going to be, selling to the consumer or business to business or whatever it may be? They need to see something that you've taken the time to put it all together, compile all the information together on that. So then it will be more considered, you being taken more seriously as a business person in reference to potentially getting the monies that you're asking for. You can walk in there, but the bank's going to look at you and just say, hey, you didn't come fully prepared. This is what our criteria is, and that's with anybody. Even if you go to someone relative to the fact of getting even a potential investment, yeah, you may give them the idea off the top of your head, and it may be of interest. I had that happen to me personally. I had a wonderful idea on a business situation, but the first thing that prospective investor asked me was, what do you have on paper? What can I see? What do the numbers look like? What's your whole mission statement? How are you going to market your product or service? Who are you going to have overseeing this? Where's the demographic? Who are you going to market to? All of those questions will be asked. So when it comes down to, again, who needs a business plan? This is part of it. Every type of business should do a business plan. I don't care who it is, how it is, what it is. Put it down on paper. There are some people who just all of a sudden created a great business idea and they were fortunate enough to get funding of sorts, whether it be through and by an investor and or a lender. And then all of a sudden, they come to the point where they may need more money. But you know what they got to do when they go to the bank and get, potentially get that money? The first thing is say, can I see your financials? Can I see what looks like on paper? So it's highly recommended that you put a business plan together. And if you're going to be an entrepreneur and going in business for yourself, when it says who needs a business plan, you, the entrepreneur, needs a business plan. What should a business plan contain? Now, I started talking about this prior to this particular screen. It is the blueprint for your business. This business plan that you're putting together is going to be the outline of what it is that you are saying. Well, one, what you're offering, what you're going to say, what it's going to look like, who you're going to offer it to, what the price point of it's going to be. Everything is going to encompass that within your business plan. It should be clearly describing your business. It should demonstrate your understanding of the industry. And that's the other thing that you have to remember. Being an entrepreneur in the category of business that you're in, make sure you understand the industry that you're going into. So if you are going to be, use the apparel industry again as a rule, as a guide, excuse me. Make sure you know the competition. I don't care if it's on a national basis, regional basis, local basis. Make sure you know what everyone else is doing in the industry, because trust me when I tell you, once you walk into a financial institution or you even have an investor to that end, they're going to say, hey, I've seen something similar. How are you going to fare or compare? And you have to be able to answer that question based upon how are you going to market this and what someone else is doing compared to what you got, in the industry, in the business. It's like I'm sorry, what's your name again? Ebony. When I look at your sweatshirt, it said, you are enough. I've seen that before. I don't know if it's the same owner, the same designer, or whomever it may be. But in the same token, if you're saying this is my brand, this is my product. Okay, you're enough. Well, I've seen something out that says you're not enough. Right. And it's like, How are you gonna compete against that? That's one of the questions that's gonna be asked. So when it comes down to understanding the industry, understanding your target market, you've got to know who you're gonna be marketing to based upon the product or the service that you're trying to sell and or market. You gotta know your competition, and most importantly, what will make your business special compared to the other ones that are in the industry. And it states here, you should be able to explain how your business will operate. You should know your business better than anybody. You should know every aspect of what you're trying to do. It's more than your passion, it's your livelihood, it's your everything. One of the aspects of what I do, as you can see, I love to talk, I do public speak, I don't do it enough. And I say I don't do enough because I don't put myself out there, but yet in the same token, it's one of the things that I love to do. The other aspect of what I do, I have an entertainment music business as well. And it's just a matter of, I understand the various aspects of demographic, who I want to cater to, and I have to be up on the industry all the time. I have to know what's happening in the industry. I have to listen and make sure I'm on various aspects of the categorically of where that industry is, where it's going. You also almost have to know before it's actually going to happen, so to speak. I mean, that doesn't sound realistic, but you really have to be up on knowing the industry. So that when you walk into that bank and or you walk into that financial institution, that you can walk in there with credit and you know your stuff. When you've got your financials down on paper, whether it be, you know, your projection, whether it be your performance, your cash flow, how that revenue, everything is going to work. You walk in there and you know it. It's like, I take Shark Tank as an example because I watch that. Yeah, I stay home on Friday nights and I do watch Shark Tank. That show is not a joke. It is 100%. Every single one of those cast members are all individualized in reference to their business models and what they've done and, you know, what they're doing. But in the same token, they did what they had to do to get to where they wanted to go. So when, you know, you're looking at your business, you're explaining your business, and you're describing your business to that lender and or somebody who holds the key to you getting the capital, make sure you go in fully prepared. Because we at MCE, we see it every day. And even before they come to our office, we have a conversation and we gauge with certain types of questions to get an understanding of them as an individual, as well as in regards to the business that they may have and or the direction they're trying to go into. So then we know how to respond to them, as well as in regard to giving them information on how to establish and to start and execute the whole process. So when you're looking at this, and it should set out a financial plan, estimating what it will cost and explain how you will pay for it. And sometimes, even what just these few slides, it scares people. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to put this all together? You know, I have not a clue. You know, and trust me, I didn't either when it came down to it. But I say to people now, and this, especially in this internet age we live in, Google is your friend. If you don't know it, Google it. And I mean that 100%. If you don't know how to write a business plan, now we at MCE, we have a template on our website, marylandcapital.org. You can go on our website and we have a template of a business plan. That template literally leads, navigates, guides you. I mean, so to the point, we have questions, it's leading. You pretty much, it's almost like a Q&A. All you gotta do is answer, but answer it in a business format, professional form. Because one of the things that bankers do not like, and or finance or individuals or lenders, is that you come with just a few word answers or one word answer or one sentence answer. And it shows that you did not do your research. So one of the things you want to do is, again, make sure you understand the product or the service that you have created, manufactured, or come up with, and that when you walk in there, they get it, and they see that you get it, and they understand that you get it. And you also know how it's going to generate income and make money. Because in the end, you got to show how you're going to make money. So based on getting a loan, that money is going to then be able to show forth that you're going to be able to pay it back. That's one of the key components, estimating what it will cost and explaining how you will pay for it. And consider your audience, just like a resume, it's a good idea to tweak your business plan depending on who is reading it. Sometimes when you package it, and or after you packaged it, if you go to a lender, there's various types of lenders out there. You know, there's commercial lenders, there's traditional lenders, there's private lenders, and there is a variation between those three. Then you've got potential investors. You've got venture capital groups, you've got angel investment groups. There's a lot of phrases, terminology I'm throwing out there to you, but you have to know your audience based upon who you're approaching with your plan. Sometimes when you go into a bank, the bank can be very, you know, those bankers can be very traditional and or conservative thinking. They are some are very conservative lenders where they'll look at certain categories of business and sometimes they will automatically have it made up in their mind that they're not going to do the deal, you know, lend to you. But you've got to walk in there with the, what I call, the Jews say, chutzpah, with cojones, and you are going to get what you want. So walking in there and getting what you want, though, in turn still comes to the point of what your business plan looks like. So research based upon the industry of category that you're going into makes a big difference. And always make sure that your plan is realistic. I believe in shooting for the stars 100%. Believe in, you know, thinking big. Thinking big is great, but sometimes you got to start organically and grow organically. And then how you know, sometimes it can just take off and bam, you're generally like, oh, what I do. But in the same token, you know, understand and now, what should a business plan show? As I'm showing to you, passion. What drew you to this business? What all of a sudden made you think about doing this? What was your drive in doing this? Why, you know, if it's again, you know, I choose you based upon, you know, just using your sweatshirt. Why did you choose that? And believe it or not, that's sometimes why people start businesses. I created this because I want to make the world a better place. I want to encourage people. I believe my product is going to bring light and make a difference in the world. You know, that's a lot of the reasons that come out there. What drives you to continue? Because sometimes, this is an interesting question, because sometimes people start, I'm walking, but then they stop. And it's like, do you have, again, the chutzpah, the push, the drive to continue? Because being an entrepreneur is not an easy feat. It's not for the weary at heart. It's not. And I believe that everybody that's watching understands that, you know, and everybody that's here, it's, you know, you gotta have what I call, I've made up my own word, you probably heard it, maybe yourself. You gotta have stick-to-itiveness. You can't just start and stop. Sometimes you do. People have passion projects or passion, whatever it may be. Oh, I love this because I love this category of business. I've always wanted to do this. And, you know, I just thought I'd make a business out of it. But did you really, truly think about, okay, how can I monetize this? Because a lot of people they have a passion for something, and then they'll all of a sudden start a business. And they're putting more money into it than they're actually getting out of it. And they're only doing it because it's a passion. And you've got to make sure that what you created, based upon what you're putting in this business plan, is not something of that magnitude. Expertise. Do you have experience in the field? Do you have the education? You don't always have to have the education, because I'll tell you, prime example. I went to college for hotel management, upstate New York, Rochester, second best school in the country, RIT, for hotel management. Am I in hotel management now? Yeah. But in the same token, and we all sometimes veer off from what our educational, you know, experience gave us. But in the same token, when it comes to that product or service that you created and you say that you're passionate about, I went into marketing. That's what I do. Business development marketing. That's part of what I do for MCE. I went into this and my employer knew I had experience in the field. Hence why he brought me on board. But I also still have what I do, my own private business, and I do that well. Put everything down on paper that I needed to. I even went and put, in that business plan, I presented that business plan to investors as well as to lenders, and they responded favorably. Why? Because I went and did those things that I explained to you in regards to doing the research, looking at the industry categorically, understanding the whole aspects of the industry, and things change on a daily basis, in regards to how the industries, regardless of what category it is, enhance it. But yet in the same token, I went and walked in with authority and passion, having an understanding of what it is that I wanted to say was Carter One Marketing at that particular time. And they saw the passion and they saw the drive, and they believed in it because I believed in it, they believed in me, and they believed in my business model. The other aspects of this with the expertise is certification or training. It's a plus, a feather in your cap to have certifications. One thing that sometimes entrepreneurs in their category should do, not that they have to, but what they should do is get certification. So if you've got to study in a particular area, take a course, go online in regards to getting some certifications, do just that to show that you are 100% interested in this area of business and that you're taking the time to get to knowledge, to grow yourself, but also in growing yourself, you're also then going to be then increasing the aspects of your business because you've taken the time to get the certifications and or additional training that you need to enhance your business model. Research. Do you know your market, target customers? Sometimes people just create something and they don't even think about it. They just create it because they love it, but they didn't think about, the market and or the industry. They didn't think about who they're going to go after. One of the things when you do your business plan is how are you going to market, sell that product or the service to the consumer? Because if you're walking into a financial institution and you're asking for capital, the first thing they want to know is, how are you going to pay us back? And you've got to know that in regards to doing that research so that you have the numbers to show this is who I'm going to be targeting. This is how much they spend in that particular area, industry-wise. I'm going to be able to capture this percentage of that industry. This is what it's going to do for me in regards to what I'm projecting. And then based upon those projections, in reference to what your fees are going to be or your product costs are going to be and what you're going to net back. And then you'll have enough to be able to pay back your loans. Have a contingency plan. In the event of, I know people are passionate and say, no, I'm sticking with this. This is all I'm doing. This is what I believe in doing. And this is it. Still, no matter what, should have a contingency plan. And what I do also recommend is that if you're working in regards to creating this, do not quit your day job. Keep your day job until you can get it completely off the ground. This is just me. What I do recommend, and people in the financial world also recommend, is that you don't leave that job until at minimum you're getting 150% of what you're making on your job from your new business. So keep your day job. And I may have jumped a little bit ahead in that regard, based on where we're talking about what your business plan should show, but in the same token, that's one piece of advice, free advice I'm giving. And then what do you expect from the reader? So if you're doing the plan, say for instance, and you're switch the roles, you walk into a bank, who do you want to sit? Or if somebody comes to you and asks you for a loan, what's going to go to is say to them what?
Where's the documentation?
Where's your documentation? But the main concern is, okay, how are you going to pay us back? Pure and simple. So when you walk into the bank, or somebody comes to you for a loan, and they say, hey, you're going to ask them, well, what's the money? And also, too, what's the money for? So you give them your idea. And then all of a sudden, okay, that idea sounds good. How are you going to make money from it? So then you got to explain that. So when you, I'm asking these questions for when it asks, what do you expect from the reader? So what are you expecting the reader to see? What are you expecting that lender to see when they're looking at your business plan? You want to make sure that they see everything in the previous slides that I just explained, and making sure that they feel comfortable enough that, okay, they've taken the time, this is just not some single sheet of paper where they just wrote down a few ideas and they look like they've got some finances together on it, not fully, but no, they want to see the full old days talking kit and caboodle. Executive summary. Your opening presentation, your elevator speech. Describe your business briefly, but including all the vital detail and make your pitch for why it will succeed. You gotta come with full drive, 100%, you gotta bring it. You gotta bring it in that executive summary. Making sure that itself, it catches the eye. As I'm reading it, I'm hearing it as I'm reading it. A lot of people think about that at times. But when I'm reading this thing, I want to actually envision it. I want to hear it in such a way as you're explaining. I hear your voice as I'm reading. I want you to grab my attention in such a way. It's not just about the number. I mean, you think about it. It's got to be about everything. I got to visually see it. Make sure that it's not oversaturated with photos, but yet in the same token, it's got enough aesthetically pleasing that it's going to capture you. You've got to show that it's working and moving and has that those moving parts even on paper. So that opening presentation has to mean a lot. It's like your opening statement when you walk into a room or a meeting and you got to give a presentation. You got to make that opening statement that's going to capture everybody that's on the people interested. That's your elevator speech. The executive summary is a summary of the other sections and may be easier to write last. You've got that introductory paragraph where you've got, again, your business name and your structure, your ownership, location, age, ask, your story. What drew you to this business? One thing that when I'm talking to customers, potential loan recipients, I'll say through MCE, one of the things that I get out of them is a bio. I want to know their history of where they were, to what brought them to where they are right now. And they sort of get a little, oh, a lot of them never done a bio. You know, I'm like, well, just take your resume and make it into 2 paragraphs. Take your experience, where you started from education up into where you are now, and how you got to where you are. And just make it sound good. You know, be forthright and honest, hold your tongue, because, you know, it's one of those things where they're looking at you based upon the fact, because believe it or not, bankers love to say, hey, that's one of my clients. We just loan them X amount of dollars. They do like to do that. So it's a matter of, you want to be a recipient of that financial institution. You want to get them on your side. You want to show that, hey, you are a responsible future business owner to these institutions. You've got to make sure that you give them an executive summary that is out of the problem. What drew you to the business, brief description of the business, keep it basic, you know, with information on what you do and what is your special sauce. What is it that makes yours separated from everybody else's? What is it that is going to have yours being talked about throughout the town? That yours is it, and you've got to show them that it's it. What do you want from the reader? When they're looking at it, what is it? Be clear about what you're asking for. Don't make it convoluted. One of the things that sometimes a business plan that people do in their business plan is they make it so complex, you don't understand fully what it is that they're asking. They may understand your product or the service, but okay, it's like we look at it, well, what is it that you're really asking for? You know, how is it that XYZ Acme Bank can assist you in what your endeavors are? You got to make sure it's clear and concise. You know, don't take 3-4 pages to get to one point, to one sentence. And people do, unfortunately, people do that. You read through this long soliloquy, and then bam, you get this one last sentence. It's like, well, they should have said that in the beginning, and I would have gotten a better understanding. Because sometimes what you do say versus what you don't say can hurt you. And sometimes they just, like, I'll give you one example. Many years ago, when I was in the sponsorship world, when I worked for an ad agency in New York, I was trying to get MasterCard as an account. And I got with the senior vice president of marketing worldwide for MasterCard. We met at an event. And she had said to me, I mean, when we spoke, she said, hey, just send me some information on your organization. What did I do? I oversaturated her with information. I mean, I sent her every analysis aspect of what I was looking. I mean, I went crazy. She didn't respond. So I'm thinking, you know, oh, she must not like what I didn't know what was going on. 4 months goes by. We see each other at another event. And she, oh yeah, I got your information, a lot of information, and she was trying to be, you know, about it, but she came out, she said, and I said, look, I said, was it too much? She said, it was a lot. And she literally came out and said to me, I just need to know the what, the who, the why, and the what, you know, and all. She gave me those 4, she said, just send me the 4 points of that. And she said, we can work together. And I did that. And in 21 days, I got her this. You sometimes don't have to oversaturate. Now, there are some groups, some financial institutions that they do want everything because they want to take you through the rigmarole and go through everything with a fine-tooth comb. And sometimes I question those types of financial institutions because if they do it with that, they're going to do it with everything that they're going to be, you know, looking at everything that you do every single time you come to them. But in the same token, make sure that you're concise but clear. Marketing plan. Now, this is my area I love, but in the same token, one thing that I found, when you do your marketing plan, describe your industry, your target customer base, and your competition. Explain your costs and pricing policy, your marketing sales strategy, and your future plans. Identify your competitive edge. In saying all of that, one of the big mistakes that entrepreneurs make is they may have and put everything together, and they've got pages upon pages of research and finances, but when it comes to their marketing plan, it's like 1 or 2 pages. And that's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. And it's more than just the pages amount, it's what goes into those pages, but yet in the same token, you're asking for, just saying hypothetically, you're asking for $1 million. And I see this daily because of what I do. Y'all ask for $1 million, and how much do you think you'll ask for? I mean, how much do you think they'll have allotted for their marketing budget out of that $1 million? Take a guess. Even for the panel, everybody, anybody who's watching. Unmute yourself and answer that. If you can't answer that question, what do you think that people put as their marketing budget if they're asking for $1 million? Anybody?
30%.
Less than
30%.
Less than that.
Less than that.
Less than that.
5%.
Less than that.
Not enough.
Believe it or not, I have many $1 million of investor dollars as well as lending dollars. And they will come in and only have $15,000 to $30,000 in their marketing plan. And they get rejected. And then they're trying to figure out, but my plan was so great. Not their marketing plan, they think their full business plan was so great. And then all of a sudden I'm looking through it and I'm like, how are you gonna sell your product, good or service? And what's the return on the sales of that product, good or service? And they're like, well, I know what I want to speak to, but you did not fully identify. In general, as a rule, when it comes down, if you have $1 million budget for $1 million that you're asking for in raising your capital, at the very minimum, your very minimum, your ad budget should be 20%, actually 22. Because you gotta get the word out. You have to, because every investor, every lender is gonna see, okay, they're gonna reach and they're gonna go after all of these different demographics, whatever that analysis is, and who you're gonna be penetrating market-wise. But it shows the fact, at minimum, you understand what you gotta do to sell your product or service. Then in return, it's gonna draw you that return financially. So you do your marketing plan, don't play. Don't overdo it, but in the same token, identify it, and then always know that it comes to your marketing plan as well. This is just marketing 101. You try to stay focused and centered on who your demographic is, and excuse the terminology, but you're gonna piss some of that money away. A lot of people don't realize that when it comes to marketing, and they're just like, oh, I'm trying to keep that control better. You're gonna piss on that money because there's gonna be stuff that goes up on the wall and it's not gonna stick. And you might as well just understand that. No matter, I don't care in the day that we live in with streaming and all of that, still doesn't matter. Because just when you think it's gonna be successful, it could just literally, not be successful. A lot of people try to go after influencers and all of that. I say know your product, good or service category, know it well. Because even on a side note, influencers can kill you. Because if one day they look good, the next day they don't, and their brand, they're wearing your brand or pitching your product or service, what happens to your brand? It goes downhill. So, market research, is there a room for you in the market? You gotta understand that. Your target market, who is your primary customer, cannot be everyone. That's what everybody says. I had people come and say, oh, we're just gonna sell to everybody. That does not always work. Majority of the time, it does not work. You got to understand your market base. Competition, who are they and what do they do well? And how are you going to differentiate yourself from them? Now, a lot of finance people who you're trying to get money out will disagree with what I'm saying, in some respects, what I'm about to say, is that understand your business, be cognizant of the competition, but don't worry about it. People be like, how can you tell them not to worry? No, because you're in it for you. You're in it for your business. You're in it for selling and marketing your product or service. Make sure, as it was stated earlier, you know it well. And make sure your passion is not a hobby. Because even if you watch Shark Tank at times, and Mark Cuban is one of the very first ones, who'll tell you, oh, this isn't a business yet, this is just a hobby. And they get offended by it, but you can tell by their reaction, they may not think it is, but if it wasn't a hobby, they try their best to shut whoever that panelist is down and say, this is not a hobby, you can say whatever you want. But you also got to be able to prove your numbers, you got to prove your plan, your case, whole 9 yards to that end, to make them understand and believe that this is 100% legit and this is going to be making buku dollars at the end of the year. Pricing, make sure that you understand, and that's the other aspect of this sometimes, you got to understand how pricing works for your category of business. Don't just all of a sudden throw, oh, I'm just going to sell a whatever for $10. Like we've had people who, and no disrespect to the industry, but we've had people who go into catering. And all of a sudden, they cater, they're starting out of their home, no disrespect, and they're only selling dinners out of their kitchen for $15. They don't take an account of what they had to do based upon, one, the travel to the grocery store, and this all goes into it. Travel to the grocery store, where it costs you gas to get there, wear and tear on the vehicle. Then what the ingredients cost, what that protein and or whatever that may be costs, the energy it took for you to get there, because you know why you do that? Because you're going to be hiring somebody then also to do that. To be going to the grocery store for you, or you're going to have somebody delivering it for you. All of these costs, everything has to go into the effect. So you gotta understand what that pricing is going to be for your product or service within the market based upon the competition. You don't want to be too high, Sometimes you don't want to be in the middle because that middle makes flatness in regards to the, the price points, and you don't want to be too low and giving it away, and you're losing money. Then when you look at advertising, how are you gonna get the word out? You see everybody doing everything which they can do. I was just talking to someone at a client of ours earlier today. And they were talking about wanting to borrow money from MCE. Well, we gotta do more advertising and marketing. We figured out that the equation of how our business, how we're able to make money. But then when they started talking about it, and I was hearing the directions that they were wanting to go into, I had to skew them down and say, hey, look, just because they're doing it, your competition is doing it, and they're in various other geographics around the country, doesn't mean it's gonna work here. You gotta understand your market and how you're able to saturate that market, but yet penetrate that market. And you gotta understand what works and how people respond. Again, penetration in that market that's gonna work for your product or service. Next. Organizations and operations. And don't be afraid to stop me, any of you, if you got any questions. Please. Organization and operations. Describe how your business will operate and be specific. You gotta know how you're gonna make this thing work, like a well-oiled machine. Structure. When it comes down to the structure, one of the things that people start to do, and it's not bad to do because you're just starting your business. Most individuals, especially if they're starting it out of their home, sometimes there's some who do go out and go up and take the initiative to do it. Others just start the business and they don't think about the whole structure. Start with a sole proprietorship if you don't go into the legal structure of an LLC, S corp, or a C corp. That structure is paramount. Sole proprietorship when you start your business is okay. And how many understand when you start a sole proprietorship what that officially means? And I'm asking that question. Does everybody understand when you just put up, and we don't have it on our screen, but it's how sometimes people actually register and or start their business. Sole proprietorship is okay when you first start, but don't stay there. Because a sole proprietorship means, especially on the IRS implication end, you are solely, again, sole responsible when it comes to that business. So say for instance, as you see here on our screen, it says Ladybugs and Fireflies. If they kept this as a sole proprietorship, and something happens within that space that is detrimental to a customer, they can sue that individual. And that individual, as a person, is liable. But when you structure your company as a legal structure, as an LLC, S corp, or C corp, that company is held liable, not the individual. And does everybody understand that? That company is held liable. But if you are a sole proprietor, you as the individual are held liable. Now, it's less expensive and very simplistic to start up as a sole proprietor, but do not stay there in that structure. At the very least, form an LLC, limited liability corporation, that protects you against someone coming up against you and as well as your business. Because when you set up a structure, say for instance, you do get sued. I know this happens repeatedly. Somebody gets sued in an LLC, what do they do? Shut it down, start anew. What we gotta remember is, especially being in the United States, we're a capitalistic country. And a capitalistic country favors businesses. It does not favor you as a sole proprietorship or an individual. IRS doesn't care anything about you. Here's why they can say, we'll come after you. We'll garnish your wages if you don't pay taxes, if you don't do X, Y, and Z. When it comes down to the business, it's not that you have a get out of jail or right on free card. It's one of those things where you easily can automatically be able to utilize that corporation as a shield. And it's easier for me to have Acme LLC than it is for it to be Bernard Carter owner. Because if something happens within my four walls of my space, while a customer is there, they'll come after me. But if I have Carter as I do, and I have several LLCs set up, they come up to that company. And as long as I'm working within the legal parameters in that regard, you're good. So the structure, then you gotta figure out, especially location-wise, if the home-based brick and mortar or online, how are you getting that? How are you getting your business off the ground? How are you gonna make it operable? How are you gonna make it work? So sometimes it's great to start out in your home, saves you a lot of money. But some get the unction, get the itch, they wanna go into a brick and mortar. Just make sure when you get, or you're looking at creating this business plan and you're looking at those costs, make sure you've got every aspect of what it's gonna cost you to go into brick and mortar. That's everything down from, are you building from the ground up? Or are you going in and leasing a space? Or buying a space that needs to be renovated, whatever it may be to that end. But make sure that every aspect of costs are going into that. Even just to go back to your legal structure-wise, an LLC on average is about $250 to actually form that LLC, S corp or C corp. You can go to also, like, if you're in the state of Maryland, you go to maryland.gov. They initially start at $60, but it actually, to add everything, it goes up to just a little over $300 with maryland.gov. Then you're going to describe also the hours, number of employees. You're going to list out the management structure. Will you hire employees? If so, are they contractors? Meaning that, are they going to be 1099 type employees where you're not hiring them full-time wise, you're not paying them benefits, they're contractors, which sometimes contractors can save you or save your business a nice chunk of change financially. Then you've got insurances. Is it general liability? What type of insurance? Is insurance just for your business? And you got to make sure too, for you, based upon the category of business that you're in, that you've got not just health insurance covered, but life insurance, not just building insurance or renters insurance. You want to make sure you've got those types of insurances because anything can happen with your business. Next one. Organization and operations. Describe in this business plan how your business will operate, and you've got to be specific. So describe how the growth is going to be within the business, where you start from day one, and then over the course of 12 months, how the business is going to work, and how it's going to make money, and where it's going to be projecting to be at the end of the year. So if you start that business January 1, where is it going to end up coming December 31st? Financially, how are you going to grow it? How are you going to expand it? Whole 9 yards to that end. And then, once you do that, exit. Is there a plan to sell or pass on to family and friends? Now that's going to be further down the road, and it does not always have to be in this business plan, but at least give the summation of, eventually I'm going to, pass this on, but that's like in the closing of your business plan, because they'll ask you, okay, that is going to ask you, okay, where do you see it in 5 years? Just like if you're in an interview for a job, where's your business going to be in 5 years or 10 years? Where you want it to be? Where are you going to take it? And when it says contingency, what if you're out for 3 weeks, month? Things happen. As you see, we went through COVID. And there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who are no longer in business because COVID hit individuals, hit businesses hard. So one of the things that it's not always convenient to do, but when it comes down to, even when you're, say, for instance, an employee of a company, what financial planners recommend is that you try to have to save at least 6 months of pay in the event you're fired or laid off. Now, most people, unfortunately, where we live in the study that I've done, they don't have it. But they're saying, in reference to that, try to have that, in the back. I would say when it comes to business, you want at least a year. So build your business up to that end. And I'll get back and I'll revert back a little bit. There are times that happens after 6 months, you could be out of business. I mean, things happen. Literally, it's unfortunate but true. You crash, you burn, you crash and you burn. Stop it there. You didn't fail. Maybe it just wasn't you going to that area of business. But you know what you do? You get up, you dust yourself off, you start anew. Don't stay in the place that you're on. And I'm hoping that doesn't all happen to anyone. But every so often, it does. But it's what keeps this economy going. Financial plan. Determine how much money you will need for starting up your business and discuss where you will get it. How much is your own investment and how much is borrowed? Estimate your income and expenses to project your cash flow situation for the next 2 or 3 years. And what financial organizations like to see is at least 3 years and projecting for up to 5 years. And again, you don't understand it, Google it. I will not say it enough. You can look, this is what you can do. You can take the category of business. I had a client, outside of what I do for MC, I had a client who wanted to get into the glamping industry. Glamping industry is high-end camping. That's what it is. She had no experience in it whatsoever. She had some land, she had a little bit of money, and she needed assistance in creating a business plan, as well as in regards to finding the location, in that regard. What did I do? She asked me to work with her. What I do? I freaking Googled everything because I had no experience in the glamping industry. And at the time that she was looking to do it, it was somewhat new. It had not been up there very long. So there was still, though, information on the industry with other glamping sites. When I say sites, actually geographical locations, not website. Glamping sites in various parts of the world, not just around the country, in various parts of the world. So what did I do? I took that information, compiled it together based upon the style and format that she was looking to create, and I put a plan together. And presented it. So again, Google is your friend. But you gotta understand, again, determine how much you will need for startup and discuss where you get it. And when you come to a lender, I have to say this on a side note, know what you're looking for the amount wise. Do not give a range, because a range is a negative. Because sometimes people will say, oh, I'm looking for $100,000 to $200,000. Do you know how big of a disparity is in that regards? 100,000. What would you rather have? 100 to 200,000? Seriously, 200,000. And one of the reasons why we're so starch on making sure you understand the numbers and everything to that end. So when you walk into a bank, you walk in there with your plan with authority, understanding what's it going to take to make your business work. So when you sit down in front of a bank representative or a financial representative, that they know that you've done the research and you know your stuff. So you understand your startup cost for the new business, your equipment costs, your overhead, your investment, everything to that end. Existing financials for existing businesses, meaning the fact that you already run the business, you've taken your plan and you're expanding upon it, and you provide profit and loss, your balance sheet, information on existing loans, if there's any debt in that business already. You give them the break even aspects to show that you understand what is, new and to pay all the bills. You give also projection, 24 to 36 months in the future. So what you're doing, the business that you're going into, you can give projections to that end. and show what your business and projections are in. But what, again, you're projecting. So you take that and you also then have credit, your credit, because banks look at that. And they then make a decision off of, okay, are you credit worthy enough, financial worthy enough to lend to them? Now, we at MCE, we look at the credit, but we don't make that credit a barrier. We have an understanding, we get an understanding of you and your business model. Credit is paramount, but it's not primary. It says to us who you are and if you're responsible. Next. Again, cash flow projections, what are they and why do we need them? Cash flow projections show the expected amounts of money that will come into a business along with what will go out as expenses. You're projected, but then you're going to show how the cash is going to flow through your business. Cash flow based on the application documents that we provide on our website, again, marylandcapital.org. You can go to, and we actually have this particular document on our website. It's a living document that will change over the life of the business. It's going to repeatedly change. It can change every quarter. It's not just an annual thing, even though you do project out for a year, but things happen in a quarter, things happen in a month, things happen in a week. So it's one of those things where you do want to be up on it. And if you're not a master of many things, especially on the finance side, get a good CPA or get somebody from your family who's good with finances to help you keep track. So these are projections and will likely not be 100% accurate. Again, they're projections. You have to project. Be realistic and not too bullish, meaning don't over project when it says to be not too bullish. But don't be too cheap on it. Even if you know you will do better than your projection. Sometimes it's like, say for instance, you know this business is gonna make money, but don't overstretch, to that end, because or don't overreach. Make sure to include income stream and expenses. Cash flow projection needs expenses for accounting, marketing and advertising, insurance, taxes, etc. Separate income streams as much as possible. Everything that you see under there in that category, dying, current activity, all of that. Do your sales change month to month, depending on season or is business steady all year? And are you paying yourself? Now, that's a tricky question. Sometimes I think it's a trick question. I say that only because when you start your business, again, I revert back to Shark Tank. One of the things they want to know, two things. Are you paying yourself and or how much did you put into it? And they're like, if you're trying to get this business off the ground, you can't pay yourself yet. And they're just like, you're looking at yourself like, well, I'm working my tail off. I gotta get paid. Yeah, we hear you, but at the same token, you're trying to make this business work. You're trying to get this business to where you want it to get to. Why do we need them? In regards to what we just talked about cash flow, it's required for the SBA, Small Business Association, and CDFI loans on a monthly basis. It's a planning tool. It shows the difference between profit and cash flow, good governance, and shows what you can take as an owner's withdrawal. So does everybody understand that? And you will need the following. You'll need a template, how much you have in the bank, and some people will, what if I don't have anything in the bank? Still show it. Very simple. The amount of your account is zero. Show it. All income, all expenses, payroll, you've got to show everything. They want to see everything. Loan and loan payments, and the percentage of markup. Because then with that percentage of markup, it's going to show, make sure that the margins are working and that you're making money. Important note, common pitfalls. Year end and next year starting amounts, taking too much or too little owner's withdrawal, meaning yourself. Accountants, legal and marketing, negative cash flow, loan and loan payment, and unrealistic expectation. That's what you gotta watch. You gotta be real in reference to what is happening within your business, even if it's negative. And you take the negative, you look at it and say, okay, how can I turn this into a positive, whether it be cash flow, marketing, whatever it may be. You just gotta get a better understanding of how and what you're doing and how the market and the industry is doing. Credit. This sometimes scares people because one of the questions we get is, well, how does my credit have to be? How much credit do I have to have? I'm like, I can't answer that question until I see what you look like on paper. So when people ask that question, they already know where they are or where they're not. So credit is key, but when it comes to MCE, we don't make it where it's paramount or that, well, you have to have this score. Now, and the good thing about it is, it's like, if you do come to MCE, we don't have it where it's just an algorithm. We put it in, you automatically apply through us, and once you hit that submit button, bam, it's getting tabulated right there. Now, that's not how we operate. We look at the total picture. We've got 3 different forms of application that we go through. We have a client intake form, which allows us to get to know you. It just asks the basics of information. Name, address, rank, in that regard. Then we have what is called a personal information supplement. That personal information supplement gives us what is called more personal information. And it's a supplement prior to the actual loan application. Then, and that's where we're talking, let's talk funding. Then we have what is called the business loan application. That business loan application gives us the meat and bones of your business. In reference to who you are, what you're looking for, how much you're looking for, everything to that. And we start talking funding where we are an SBA intermediary micro lender. And what a micro lender means is that we don't lend above a certain amount. We're a nonprofit organization. We're only allowed to lend up to $250,000. That's our cap. Then we start at what we call is a credit builder on a business end at $5,000. We do lend less than that, but as a credit builder for our business end, it starts at $5,000. Oh, sorry. No problem. I'm sorry about that. So this is where we are in regards to our lending process. We have $5,000 to $35,000 for startup businesses. But if you've been in business, that $35,000 can be exceeded if you already are established company or you've been in business before. $5,000 to $150,000 for business expansions. The term can be anywhere from a 1-year minimum up to 10 years, and again, it just states depending on the loan size. The interest rates are currently set at 6 to 12%. And the fortunate thing about our interest rates is we're not dictated by the economy. So say, for instance, if interest rates go up in general, in the traditional aspects of the markets, ours doesn't increase. So if we give you a 7 or 8% interest rate, it's going to remain for the life of your loan. Collateral at times is required, and it's normally required on loans that are $25,000 or more. All loans with 20% or more interest must personally guarantee the loan. And when it says 20% or more interest, meaning 20% or more ownership. And we have an application fee is $100 plus $25 credit report fee per owner paid up front. That $25 additional, we have no control over that. That's just the credit bureau. And then there's a 1% closing fee. So if you have a $100,000 loan, it's 1%, closing off of that, which is $1,000. And legal reserve fee from $250 to $1,500 based upon the loan amount and can be deducted from the loan proceeds. And we automatically do an ACH debit each month. So when you are pending approval of a loan, you give us your banking information, and it's with a voided check, it's automatically deducted each month. There's no prepayment penalties at all. We do a semi-annual site visit to your business. That's required. So every 6 months, you get a loan today, September 18th. I'm going to say, hey, how you doing? Business, everything going okay? Just to say, hey, how you doing? Sometimes it's for another business. We can do it virtually, but the majority of the time, we do show up. A sample, loan uses include build out of lease space, furniture and equipment, working capital, salaries, business supplies. And when you say working capital, please explain it, because we have so many individuals who, when we ask for the use of proceeds or the use of funds, they'll just say working capital. What does that mean? Because that's very broad. But based upon who we are, this talks about our credit builder loan, which I was speaking of just a few seconds ago, where the loan amounts range from 500 to 5,000. And what we call credit builder is for those who may not have a lot of credit, and they're trying to establish. So we are ones that will extend the loan in that regards, anywhere from 500 to 5,000. Collateral is not required. It is encouraged, but it's not required. Again, all owners with 20% or more interest must personally guarantee the loan. The application fee is then half of the $100. It's still a $25 credit report fee. And then closing costs of $75 and can be deducted again from the loan proceeds. And the requirements in regards to the repayment are the same. From the ACH, no prepayment penalty, and still semi-annual site visit. And it can be, the proceeds can be used as, that's, as you see there.
You kind of went over that earlier.
Okay. Well, again, the supporting documents, again, NCE, Maryland Capital Enterprise, WBC Women's Business Center. Intake form is done online. All of this is done via tech through our website. And then they ask for these particular supporting documents for each, which will then be uploaded. And based on our website and how it's structured, the platform, we need you to have everything at your side or to your disposal on your computer system to upload. Because if it all of a sudden times out, unfortunately, you have to start all over again. So make sure you've got everything, your taxes, your bank statements, your bio, whole 9 yards. So then it can be uploaded and you can get it in. And then once you hit that submit and it says thank you, you get that 1 sentence thank you, a loan recipient will be in touch with you, within 24 to 72 hours, you're good to go. To that end. Reference letters, they're not perfect. We don't require them, but they can help. Because it's somebody in your community, somebody, who knows you, speaks well of you. And any other, where you're going into proposed lease, estimate invoice, we got somebody right now going into a specific industry, in the cannabis world, and they have a lease that they've got to get into that space. They've got everything in, they were approved. And so now we're not really going to allocate it until they had a space. They finally got a space, and so now we're on. Getting ready to get the whole funding aspect taken care of. 5 things to remember when applying for business capital. Don't quit, again, as I stated earlier, don't quit your day job. A lot of people get a lot of drive and vigor and say, this is my passion. And all of a sudden say, I'm done. Bye, business, bye, corporate world. Don't quit your day job until you are actually making money. Making enough money that's going to compensate you for at least 18 months. A lot of people just like, well, yeah, don't do that. That's just a suggestion, not a requirement. But don't quit your day job. Unless you're an accountant, you need an accountant. Unless you know how to do finances really well, you are going to need an accountant. And you can actually, what I also would recommend, you've got LegalZoom and you've got Rocket Lawyer, they can assist you in those matters, believe it or not. They charge a fee each month, but it's nominal compared to what some accountants and or legal representations cost you. I use it personally, and I only pay $39.99 a month, and I have a plethora of accountants, a plethora of legal aspects available to me. And it saves me a lot of money. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Starting a small business is not easy. Starting any business is not easy. You don't know everything, especially when it comes down to the financial. You may have a great idea to create your product, good or service, but in the same token, it's like, I get people, it's like, Mr. Carter, I don't know how to work this financially, can you help? I literally got somebody coming into the office tomorrow. I sent them the links to the whole process of what we offer. And sent me back a message, I'm gonna need help with this. Sometimes people are lazy, I think, but then other time, they really don't know, they need the help. Put your money in the bank, all of it. Lenders like to see deposits, 100%. They like to see that you're transacting good amounts of money. One thing I had started to do was putting just $100 a week, just so that transaction could be done. I've been fortunate, but it's not thousands of dollars a week. So it's different for everybody, but you grow into what you're doing. You need to present a positive but accurate position of your situation. And when it talks about putting all the money in the bank, make sure you choose the right bank that works for you. Because there are a lot of banks out there that you can get an account, and that account may not be the best account for you because they can charge exorbitant fees. And before you know it, if you're not a good ledger keeper of writing everything down, especially when you use your debit card several times throughout the day, and you've been withdrawing more than you've been depositing, and then all of a sudden, you get something that's returned, or you get to the register, or you try to make a purchase, and it's saying denied. And you're just like, wait a minute, I know I had that money in there, but did you keep a good ledger of your finances? One thing I do as a business owner, every other day, minimum, I make sure that my bank accounts are in perfect ledger order. I know in my head right now, I did it before I came to this event. I made sure that everything was done. I have several accounts, and I know what's in every single one. Not saying that you have to be like me, but you have to take control of that's a part of taking control, being in control of your finances. Because trust me when I tell you, you can write a check on something, you can pay a bill on something, all of a sudden an unexpected large bill comes, and you're trying to think in my head, oh, do I have enough money? Especially being a small business owner. You are in that driver's seat, even though you may have an accountant, but when it comes down to writing that check, or having that debit card, or that credit card, you know what it is. And you have to be, if there's anything you need to be on besides your craft, is what you got in the bag. Because trust me, spending happens quickly, and it runs like water. And before you know it, that bank account gets thirsty. 100%. No business is an island. And going back to putting your money in the bank, all of it, especially when it comes down to whenever you have situations financially and you don't keep track of what's running in the bank, those bank fees those return fees, they don't just do it based on checks, they do it on ACHs. So if that ACH doesn't get cleared, what do? They charge, and they can be anywhere on the low end of $12 up to $42. I knew of a young lady who just couldn't get it right. Literally could not get it right because she had so many overdrafts. And she's going to the bank, she's arguing with them, and they're trying to explain it to her. She's not getting it. And then she was going off of the statements that she was getting, not just online, but also in the mail. But don't you see my statement? It shows a pilot. For the time when your statement got mailed out, to the time of what the transaction was, is 2-3 different time frames. You have to keep good financial ledgers. No business is an island. Last bullet point. Entrepreneurial ventures are dependent on their community. Make some time, become involved. Local charities, chambers of commerce, Rotary, for some examples of opportunities for you to get back to the community and network your business. This is something that every business should do. Become a part of the local community, especially joining your chamber, become a member of your chamber, and you charge a nominal fee for doing that. It varies based upon county, city, whatever it may be. But it's a good networking situation as well, because then it lets those other businesses know that you exist. And word of mouth is paramount at these events. You know, I'm here because of this lady. I'm here because of MCE. She had to remind me I had this event today. Sorry, everybody, but she did. She had to remind me of this event today. But in the same token, this organization is here to help facilitate entrepreneurs, especially not going the traditional realm of traditional banking. We're able to assist in helping you from not just lending and spending monies, but also to assist you with just this business plan alone. Especially for women that are in business, this is what she is. She's our director. Lisa Twilley is our director of the Women's Business Center. There's a countless conversation that happens with her, ladies, that she will help navigate you through. That then in turn, she has someone who works with her that if you need help with your cash flow and projection, she's got a person, Marvin Jenkins, who works with her that you can come into, make an appointment and come into our office. He'll sit down with you, or they'll do a Zoom call with you to assist you to get to that point. And then once all of that is done, as I'm standing here, she turns you over to me. Because business consultant, loan officer, then I help to, after she's been done on the surface, I get in turn, she'll come and tell me, or she'll shoot me an email. Hey, I talked to this person, this is who they are, this is their business, this is where they are in their business, and now this is what you need. I need you to help them to package it and get them to the next level. So we, MCE, being Maryland Capital Enterprises, you know, the small business resources, we are for who we are. We have a few $1 million that we need to get out. We do. We have certain types of funds that we have to, we are charged with getting out, you know, to women, persons of color, everything to that end. Businesses though, small businesses in general. But the small business resources besides us, you've got a business center at any local library, you can go talk to them, they've got options for you. Your local economic development organization, here in Salisbury, you got economic and rural development. Wycomico County. You've got your local chamber of commerce, you've got your Maryland Department of Commerce. All of these that you see listed here today. Maryland Small Business Development Center, Operation Hope, SBA, SCORE. And if you don't know these, all these, again, Google them. I cannot say it enough. Google is your friend. These are the small business resources. Then, on top of that, we can also assist you in certain realms on grants opportunities as well. So, this is who we are. This is what we are helping, you know, for the community, small business entrepreneurs who want to become business owners to that end. And so then you've got the Rommel Center here at Salisbury, that's part of Salisbury University, that offers everything that we're talking about, being able also to facilitate every type of business with spaces that you can come in and be able to even set up and operate your business out of as well. So the resources are here in Salisbury, in Wycomico County, and in the surrounding counties alike to be able to help and facilitate it. I want to thank you all for listening. If there's any questions, please unmute, and I will be able to hopefully assist in facilitating and answering those questions. And again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being on. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Bernie. Very good.
Thank you, Ted. Pleasure. Thank you for being on. Where are you based from, by the way?
I'm in Cambridge.
Oh, okay. Dorchester County.
Yeah, Dorchester County, Cambridge Airport. I'm calling you from work.
Oh, okay. What do you do?
I'm a businessman, small business. So aviation, flight instructor. We build custom airplanes, things like that. And I'm looking to expand.
Well, you know what? Give me a few flight instructions and I'll be down there to help you out.
We can work it out. We barter.
Trust me, I've always wanted to learn to fly. My only hesitancy would be, even though it's not that it's correct, of course, with lenses, but I've always just had a concern of, not having perfect vision.
Okay, come on out. I'll
100%.
I'll get in touch with you. I got your information here. I'll give you a call.
100% about that. Please do. And actually, I'll be in Cambridge on the 28th of this month.
That's all I'm hearing.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that. But everybody, thank you very much for listening and thank you for being here.
I'll see you then.
All right, man.
Thank you.
And that, yeah, Bernard does consulting out of Cambridge, like once a month. It's usually the last Wednesday of the month, but we had to change it to Thursday, so it's March 28th. So if you want to make an appointment with him, he does it right out of the Innovation Center, right? Which I know is the airport, basically.
Yeah, who's that?
That's the Eastern Shore Innovation Center, and
Oh,
Bernard
okay.
can meet with you there on the 28th.
Okay.
Like between 9 and 11:30, but he can meet you other times too. I was just saying he will be in your area that day, and I know you guys are like right across the street from the Innovation Center, so.
Right, right. Yeah, Susan Banks and everybody over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susan's wonderful. She's a wonderful lady.
So
She is.
we can use that space anytime if you guys ever want to meet. That way you wouldn't have to travel to Salisbury or do it by Zoom, so.
Okay.
I don't mind coming down either, so.
Yeah. Does
Very
anybody else have questions? Now's the time to ask the expert. I think there's some in the chat. Hold on a second. Go here. Or you can just unmute yourself. I started typing in here. No. Great job tonight, James says. Thank you so much for all this great information.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Jane and Kara.
yes, thank you guys. I just wanted to say too, our next workshop I mentioned early on was April 18th. And that is creating your social media strategy. So hopefully you can join us here again, either in person or virtually that night. And
Thank you, Teresa.
I forgot to mention in the beginning too, because I was a little distracted, sorry about that. That we cover the entire Eastern Shore of Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Anne Arundel County. So I just wanted to mention that that is our service area. I think I forgot to say that in the beginning. And as far as the loan information that Bernard was saying with the business plan, I mean, that's gonna go, like you said, no matter where you go, whether it's a bank or not. A lot of people go to their bank first and see if they can get a better rate. If they get turned down for some reason, then they come to us, but some people just come to us right from the get-go because they like it. So, just let us know. We're here as a resource, a free resource. All the consulting services are free. Training workshops are free, so take advantage of the free resources. All right, no questions. They said great information, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you guys. You have a good night. Reach out to us by email if you need to. We will send you these slides. And I'm also going to send an evaluation. If you guys can please send that back to me. We really need it this time specifically for SU, the Rommel Center. They need that feedback. So we'll send that to you by email. If you can just fill it out and send it back to me, that would be awesome. All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Started with information. Get out. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.